Quinn Ewers, Steve Sarkisian. Wow, what a season it has been for Texas football. If you have not already heard, Texas football is back in full form. Just an awesome feeling to have in general for college football to have. This is Sports Guy talking that you guys are watching and listening to. I am Dustin Tran, your host, as I am here today to talk about Texas being back in the Big 12 championship game, as they will be looking to win their first Big 12 title since 2009. Quinn Ewers will be looking to make his impact in the Big 12 championship game, as he has been an underrated quarterback in college football this season. Steve Sarkisian will also be looking to finally bring Texas to a Big 12 title, as that was one of his main goals when he was hired by Texas back in January of 2021. Before I say anything else though, I want to present you guys with the topic question. So here it is. Will Steve Sarkisian finally win a Big 12 championship against Oklahoma State? I believe it. I fully believe in Texas. I said before the year that Texas would win the Big 12 and make the college football playoff. I also believe that Texas would only lose one game before the season starts. Well, Texas has only lost one game all year long. They look like a really good program this year. Their team looks much improved. They can run the football. They can throw the football. They don't really have a lot of weaknesses offensively. Their defense just keeps getting better and better. Yeah, their games aren't perfect, but when it comes time to make the clutch plays and win, that's exactly what Texas does. Texas has done that all year long. Quinn Ewers, no Quinn Ewers, it doesn't matter for Texas because they've been able to play the back quarterback for some of these games because Quinn Ewers got injured. And you know what? Texas didn't miss a single beat in each of those games because they trust Malik Murphy a lot. And speaking of Malik Murphy, he's done an excellent job for Texas when he was filling in for Quinn Ewers. But hey, this is Quinn Ewers' team. That's why he gets the starting job back. There's a reason why Quinn Ewers is the starter, not Malik Murphy. When you talk about Quinn Ewers, the guy has grit, he has toughness, he has determination. He's a smart football player. He is a guy that can make all the key plays. I know that the stats might say that he's not a great football player, but when you watch the tape of Quinn Ewers, you're thinking, wow, this guy is a special talent at the quarterback position. The guy has elite arm strength next to his name, and his accuracy just keeps getting better and better. When you talk about Steve Sarkisian, there is a reason why he is a quarterback guru. He is a quarterback guru because he can develop guys like Quinn Ewers into top-level quarterbacks. He can make guys like Malik Murphy look really good. And watch out when Arch Manning eventually takes over for Texas at the quarterback position, although let's see what happens with that because Malik Murphy looked really good for Texas when he played for them. When you talk about Texas, they can run the football, they can throw it, like I said. That's what happens when you got a running back like Jonathan Brooks. The guy's rushed for over 1,000 yards. He's got over 6 yards a carry. He's got 10 touchdowns on the year, so obviously he can run the football pretty effectively. And of course, you look at the receiving game, Xavier Worthy, man, what a tremendous season he has had. He's had 883 receiving yards. He's had 5 receiving touchdowns. The guy just knows how to make plays, and he's got some nice versatility to his game because they use him on some trick plays. Of course, you can't forget about Adonai Mitchell. He's had 9 touchdowns in the year. Great receiver to have. That's what happens when you have 2 great receivers in college football. When you got receivers like that, they're going to be basically impossible to guard, and that's exactly what Texas has done all year long. And I love the way Steve Sarkisian has used his weapons on offense because the guy understands how to put players in positions to be successful. Now, as far as whether or not Texas is going to make the college football playoff, I don't see that happening unless if Michigan somehow loses to Iowa or something like that. But there's no way they're going to lose to Iowa because Iowa is not a good football team. Yes, they're in the Big 10 championship game, but they're only there because the Big 10 West division is pathetic. That's the same division that Nebraska plays. And by the way, for the people that have been following my content, when I roast Matt Rule all the time, when you talk about the Big 10 West, it is an absolute joke. And we all know that Michigan is going to steamroll Iowa. We all know that Michigan is definitely not going to lose to Iowa. If they haven't been losing those games that they were supposed to lose earlier in the year, they're not going to lose now because they already went through the toughest stretch of the season. They already had to deal with Jim Harbaugh getting suspended. They already had to deal with having to play with Penn State and Ohio State, 2 really good football teams. And obviously, Michigan is undefeated for a reason. So no, Michigan is not going to go ahead and lose to Iowa. That's the only way Texas is probably going to get into the college football playoff because you think about Georgia, they're basically going to be in at this point. No way they're going to drop down from first rank to missing the college football playoff entirely, even if they lose to Bama. Obviously, you think about how Michigan, they're a good football team. They're not going to lose to Iowa. They're going to make the college football playoff. Then you look at Washington and Oregon, the winner of that game, they're going to get into the college football playoff. In other words, whoever wins the Pac-12, they're getting a spot to the college football playoff. But then you look at the 4th spot, it's going to be Florida State. It's either going to be that or it's going to be Ohio State, maybe Texas, maybe Bama. But the reason why I think Florida State may end up having to stay at that 4th spot is because they play Louisville in the ACC championship game. That's a freaking joke of a matchup to have. Now, do I hope that Louisville can upset Florida State? Absolutely. As far as whether or not that's actually going to happen, I'm not quite sure. I'm going to go ahead and pick Louisville, but I don't feel necessarily confident in that pick. And that's only because Florida State has to start their backup quarterback. They can't start their starting quarterback because Jordan Travis injured his leg. He's out for the year. So obviously, it's either going to be Florida State or Ohio State. Ohio State doesn't play anybody this week, but if Florida State loses, I would have to assume Ohio State is going to outjump out-jump Florida State. I don't see a scenario where Texas would be able to out-jump Ohio State in the college football playoff committee. I just don't see that happening whatsoever. The only pathway I see Texas to making the college football playoff is if Michigan loses to Iowa or Texas blows out Oklahoma State in the Big 12 championship game. And that's really a shame because I actually had Georgia, I had Michigan, I had Ohio State, and I had Texas making the college football playoff all before the season started. But that seems like that's not going to be the case. I was right about Georgia. I was right about Michigan. Seems like I could be right about Ohio State if Florida State ends up losing in the ACC championship game. I didn't anticipate a Pac-12 team to make it to the college football playoff, although I did have Oregon winning the Pac-12 before the season started. I did not realize that the Pac-12 was going to be that good. And speaking of the Pac-12, this is going to be basically the final year of its existence as we know it. I know that obviously they're going to continue on, but as the Pac-12 that we know it is not going to be there anymore. And the fact of the matter is, what a way for the Pac-12 to head out, for the Pac-12 championship game to look like this. This is going to be the best Pac-12 championship game that we're going to be seeing in years, possibly even ever. Now, as far as Texas, can they make it to the college football playoff? Like I said, no, I don't think they won't get in because obviously I think Michigan is going to blow the heck out of Iowa, and I don't see Texas getting in. Now, as far as whether or not they're going to win the Big 12 championship, absolutely. Obviously, Texas hasn't won that thing in 14 years, so it's been a long time for a storied program like Texas. And when Texas football is doing good, that makes college football as a whole a lot better. It makes college football feel a lot more of what it's supposed to be because college football is all about tradition. And to see a team like Texas come back to national relevance, obviously you have to make college football fans feel pretty good about that. Now, as far as how the actual game will play out, I think Texas is going to beat Oklahoma State rather comfortably. Do I think it'll be a blowout from start to finish? No. I think Oklahoma State is going to put up a fight at the beginning of the game. But ultimately, Texas is the better team. And by the fourth quarter, the score will reflect that because when you talk about Oklahoma State's roster, they're really not that good of a team. They are well coached, but they're not a great roster. Their quarterback play has not been good whatsoever. They got a quarterback that's not even completing 60% of his passes. He's thrown more interceptions than touchdowns. He's just not been effective whatsoever. Alan Bowman has not been good. The fact that Oklahoma State is in the Big 12 championship game, that has to be given a lot of credit to their head coach, Mike Gundy, for being able to drag his bad quarterbacks into a situation like this where they have a chance to win the Big 12 title because they don't deserve to be there, but they're there because of their running game. They're there because of Ollie Gordon II. He's been able to run the football effectively. He's averaging over 6 yards a carry. He's got 1,580 rushing yards. He's ran in for 20 touchdowns. He's basically been touchdown merchant for Oklahoma State, so he's done a really good job. Obviously, if the passing game isn't good, the receivers are not going to be good either, although they do have Brennan Presley. He's had a solid year for them. He's managed to catch 5 touchdowns this year, so shout out to him, but the receiving room is not really all that to begin with, and their offense as a whole is not great. Oklahoma State has had to win games because of their easy schedule, and I sound like a hater when I say that, but their schedule really has not been that hard whatsoever. When your schedule isn't that hard, yeah, you're going to go ahead and win games. Not everybody's going to be like Nebraska, where they're going to lose games against easy teams. The fact of the matter is, Texas is a better football team than Oklahoma State, and I think that is going to be close in the first half, but Texas is going to pull away in the second half. Ultimately, I see Oklahoma State scoring 20 points while I see Texas scoring 31 points. I think Quinn Ewers is going to play a solid game. He's going to throw for an efficient 2 touchdowns. He'll let Jonathan Brooks run in for another 2 touchdowns. I think that the final score is going to end up being 31-20 Texas. I see Texas winning the Big 12 championship, but not making the college football playoff this season because they just need too much help for that to happen, and I don't see that happening whatsoever. So that is why Steve Sarkisian will finally win a Big 12 championship for Texas, as they will end up beating Oklahoma State by the score of 31-20 in order to win the Big 12 championship this season. Remember, go ahead and subscribe to Sports Guy Talking, like the video, and please comment down below. If you guys do that, I may shout you guys out in my Instagram story every Monday. That'll be for the @Dustin Instagram account. Make sure to follow me on Instagram @Dustin Tran and @Sports Guy Talking. Also, go follow me on Twitter @Dustin Tran. Again, go ahead and do those things that I just told you guys to go do. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed the content that was just produced. Peace out. I hope you enjoyed that video. Want more Sports Guy Talking, the home of great sports content? Make sure you click that subscribe button to get the latest from Sports Guy Talking. Go ahead and like the video, comment down below, check the description box on the video in order to follow my Instagram and Twitter. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from the YouTube channel Sports Guy Talking.